Hey everyone, this is Professor Henry. Today we're going to talk about religionists and reductionists in the study of religion. So let's look at religionists. These are people who take religious claims seriously. They believe that there is a level of reality that is actually a level of reality. It's real. It's its own kind of reality. It's sui generis. It's its own category. So sui generis. And genera is a category like species and genus. A genus is a category of living things. So sui genera would mean its own category. So that means God, spirits, heaven are their own category in existence. So it's not just a category, but it's a category in existence. So religionists are what you would think of normally as a religious person, that they actually believe God exists, heaven exists, in terms of their own religion. Reductionists are different. They take the opposite tack. They say, well, no, really, we can reduce religion to something lower. We can reduce it to something simpler. So, for example, someone who follows the Marxist philosophy would say that this idea of heaven or an afterlife is a way of manipulating people so they don't understand their current economic situation of suffering under capitalists. And religion offers them this false hope of a future. So they reduce religion to economic terms. Religion's really about control of people. It's misdirecting them. Another religionist school would be the Freudian psychoanalytic school, where religion is reduced to a means of helping people overcome their angst about the end of their lives. So it's a way of coddling them and lying to them. It's an illusion. It's unreal. So they reduce it just to psychological terms. So that explains why there is religion. People are afraid of death, so they develop these stories to comfort themselves. And so it reduces religion to just an explanation of that. So a religionist will accept the realm of the sacred as a separate realm, a really existing realm. So the sacred is a category versus the mundane or the profane, the this worldly. A religionist will say that that actually exists. So they basically take the basic claims of the religions as indicating the existence of what those religions generally say exists. Now, reductionism. So the other two, or the other two that we've talked about, Marxism and Freudian analysis, reduce religion to something else. And there are other ways of doing this reductionism. But in other fields, for instance, engineering has reductionism too. It's a little bit different. And I remember one of my classes, a student and I just couldn't understand each other, and I looked up more of what reductionism is in, say, mechanical engineering. So if you take a car, an automobile, and you reduce it to, you want to know how it functions, so you reduce it to its parts. The wheels create friction with the road, hold the car up above the road, the engine provides power, the gasoline tank provides the fuel, etc. So you reduce the automobile to the functioning of the parts, and then all those parts come together to create a vehicle that can be driven on the roads. So you reduce it to its simpler parts, but the car is still there. There still is a car. It's a little bit different in terms of reductionism in philosophy, especially philosophy of religion. Usually when people say they're reducing religion to something simpler or a different level, what happens is the higher level, the realm of the sacred, the realm of God or gods, disappears because it's explained away. So reductionism, usually in this field, philosophy of religion, usually means the realm of the sacred is explained away. It's basically said to be non-existent. Whereas again, religionists would say, no, this actually is an actually existing realm of its own type. So it's a different type than this physical realm. It's sui generis. It's its own category of existence. So you can't really reduce it to anything lower. Sometimes you see scientific reductionism in the study of religion. So a scientist would look at the claims of religion and say, well, look what's happening in the human brain. There are various neural cells, neurons, neurotransmitters, a complex series of mental events, and that explains religion. So the scientific reductionism. Or they would just say, well, there's no evidence for anything outside of the physical realm, so they would reduce religion scientifically to something else. They would also do that perhaps some with consciousness. So human consciousness, some people think it's its own level, sui generis, it's its own kind of reality. But a scientific reductionist would say, no, really, consciousness is just the functioning of the brain, as we just talked about. So these are the two categories, and they play an important part in the course because a lot of the assignments require you to look at things from either a religionist or a reductionist perspective. So a religionist takes seriously the existence of the sacred. A reductionist explains away the existence of the sacred by focusing on this worldly, scientific or psychological or economic considerations. So the existence of any higher realm, any transcendent realm, is denied by a reductionist approach.